The African National Congress was the biggest winner in yesterday's by-elections. The ANC went from 29% to 49% in Knysna Ward 11, beating the DA in an opposition stronghold. Meanwhile, the DA support dipped from 51% to 34% in Knysna Ward 11. For an analysis on these results, I'm joined now by Mr. Wayne Sussman, an elections analyst. Good to have you with us this afternoon, Wayne. So talk to us about the sterling performance of the African National Congress. They managed not only to retain all their wards, but they managed to gain 2 more.
Good afternoon, yes. So the ANC picked up a ward, as you mentioned, in Knysna, and then also in Mapumolo, in rural northern KwaZulu-Natal, near the north coast of the province. And I think in the first case, in Knysna, the former DA ward councillor was, in her opinion, treated badly by the DA, and she crossed the floor and joined the ANC. And a lot of the community thought that she had been treated badly by the DA, and they came out in their droves to support her and give the ANC a very, very important win in Knysna. This win means that the ANC and its coalition partners in Knysna, which are the Congress of the People and the local party, do continue to remain in power in Knysna. Then when we go to Mapumolo, it was a fascinating victory because the IFP won it by over 900 votes in 2016. However, if you dig deep into the numbers, there was a big trend change in 2019 when the ANC narrowed the gap substantially when you look at the provincial vote in KZN in that particular ward in 2019. So I knew that this was going to be a ward to watch. And what the ANC did in this rural ward in Mapumolo yesterday was that they made sure that their voters in the 3 largest voting districts came out to vote. And they increased their majority there and were able to beat the IFP and gain, as you say, 2 wards. So it was a good night for the ANC.
And what do you believe are the factors that are positively affecting the African National Congress at the ballots?
The ANC has something which I like to call voter stickiness, that even if voters might be unhappy with the performance of the party, they might think that service delivery could be better, they don't like the party fighting amongst each other. At the end of the day, when people go into that electoral supermarket, into the ballot box, it's a brand they know. Yes, the brand might not have always delivered for them, but it's a brand they'll ultimately remain faithful for. By the way, there was a lot of research which showed that the DA amongst its core supporters up until the 2019 elections also had this voter stickiness, but that's starting to unravel. I think other reasons are, again, a candidate. They had a popular candidate in Knysna, as I spoke about earlier, and I think that this really helped them in that particular by-election. I was also seeing there was a ward in the Mopani district, in Mojadjieskloof, in Limpopo, and that was again the example. I could see people were very happy about the ANC. So this is not just a lesson, it's not just a takeaway point for the ANC, but for all political parties. Listen to the communities where by-elections or elections are taking place. Choose an effective candidate who can ensure that that ward gets service delivery and to deliver on the party's mandate for the people there.
Apart from the floor crossing in Knysna, which resulted in the DA losing its support there, in all the wards, really, where by-elections were taking place, the DA did start losing a share of the voters. Talk to us about that general decline in share support.
Sure. So there were 3 by-elections in the Western Cape, and just to remind viewers that its DA has an outright majority in the Western Cape. The DA had the opportunity to take back control in Knysna, which we've spoken about, but also in Beaufort West. And what was interesting about Beaufort West was that there is a part of Beaufort West called KwaMadlinkosi, which is an ANC stronghold. And the ANC had a whole array of challenges, including people who'd left the ANC, defected from the ANC, joined other parties or ran as independents, running against them and hoping to draw support in the township. The other part of the ward was the town centre, the historic DA stronghold. And the DA was simply unable to get its supporters out to the polls yesterday. And that, what should have been a much closer election, in the end saw the DA losing by a very similar margin to what they lost the ward in 2016. And then crucially in the city of Cape Town, by the way, the city of Cape Town remains a very challenging place for the ANC. They battle to make inroads. There was a by-election in Delft, quite a diverse community. And there, the DA did very, very well there in 2016, less well in 2019. And what affected the DA here wasn't the ANC. They actually took a voting district off the ANC in a part of the ward. But was a new party called the Cape Coloured Congress, a party by its name, which obviously appeals to a very specific part of the Cape Town voter segment, a party which is running on the ticket to say that the ANC and the DA are letting down the coloured people. And this party was able to take away votes from the DA, and they actually finished in their first ever by-election and election. They finished ahead of the ANC and the EFF for second place. So what we see is the DA losing votes to parties like the Patriotic Alliance, which also appeal predominantly to coloured voters, losing votes to parties like the Cape Coloured Congress, losing votes to the ANC in Knysna. And this is one of the reasons why that although they retain the ward in Cape Town, they'll have a lot of head scratching to do today.
So as we wrap up, let's focus on the performance of the EFF and also how independent candidates performed in these by-elections.
Sure. So the EFF struggled in some of its traditional strongholds like the Northwest and Limpopo. But as we saw in the 2019 elections, one of the reasons why the EFF did so well was they made a coastal breakthrough. They did well in urban areas such as the Eastern Cape, but particularly in KwaZulu-Natal. And here we see in a part of eThekwini in Durban called Mpumalanga Hammersdale, a historic ANC stronghold, one of the reasons why the ANC has continued to govern eThekwini with an outright majority. There, the EFF showed major growth. And also in southern KwaZulu-Natal, in the Harry Gwala district, in the Umdumkulu municipality. It's the municipality where the ANC does the best in KwaZulu-Natal. You saw the EFF increase their vote share by 400%. So the voters at these electoral supermarkets are not necessarily going to look at the IFP, but are excited by the EFF, possibly excited by the ideas of radical economic transformation. And you are seeing the EFF becoming more and more of a force in KwaZulu-Natal politics. They're a long way from winning wards off the ANC, but they are giving the ANC some headaches. And with regards to independents, there are about 4 or 5 independent candidates who ran, and the one in Beaufort West, he didn't do so well. There was a little-known candidate, which will give Musi Maimane, the chair of the One South Africa movement, some excitement. In a rural KwaZulu-Natal ward, he did pretty well. It was a mixed bag performance for the independents. None of them made a mark as much as a party like the Patriotic Alliance or the Cape Coloured Congress did. I think when we look at smaller parties beyond the big three, the story today is more of those parties, the Cape Coloured Congress and the Patriotic Alliance, than the independents today.
Mr. Sussman, we'll leave it at that for this afternoon. Thank you so much for the breakdown of the by-election results. We actually will be talking to some of the smaller parties on their performance in just a moment.